Thank you. Okay, so great to be here in Cambridge. Thank you to the forum and to Ahab. We go back a ways. He invited me to Jordan, I don't know, 10 years ago. It was a great conference, and afterwards I got to ride a camel and I got arrested by the police. Happens all the time. Today, I've got the task of squeezing 30 years of experience down into 15 minutes. All right, so my journey in branding really got going when I wrote this book, The Brand Gap, in 2003. And it was about the gap between business strategy and customer experience, which has always been the problem in branding. The two sides just can never get together. So I addressed that, and I got lucky. The book took off, and when it came out, it was the top-selling business book in the world for that season. And since then, it has sold 500,000 copies, and about 25 million people have read it online for free, which is great. This is Steve Jobs' copy. You can see he wrote hands off. He's a lovely guy. I found somebody gave me that after he died, and which is interesting because I never really got along with him very well, and the whole time he was using the book. Okay, so I'll start at the beginning here. What's a brand? You know, there's a lot of discussion about that, and a lot of people really don't understand it, so I'm going to give you the best definition that I know. This, okay? It's a person's gut feeling about a product, service, or organization. It's a gut feeling because the way we make purchase decisions, and probably any decision, is really more emotional than logical, even though we have reasons that we attach to our emotions. So that's important to understand. And then it's a person's gut feeling because a brand is created in the mind of a person. We all have a different brand of your company, for example. And the idea is to get enough people to have the same idea of it that you have a consistent brand, but it lives in people. So it's not what you say it is, it's what they say it is. So you have to look at it from the other side. And that's really hard for companies because they always look at everything from their point of view. So you have to learn the trick of seeing everything from the customer's point of view or the user's point of view. Right, so I'm just going to simplify here. The difference between marketing and other ways of selling things and branding is kind of like this. So in marketing, you say, you know, I'm a great lover. You just tell people it's who I am. Telemarketing is the same. You just do it on the phone. Public relations is a little better because you get someone else to do it, right? It's just more believable. Or advertising, you know, you just say it over and over and over again. Design is nonverbal. And then finally you have branding. I understand you're a great lover. So somehow the customer or the user comes to that conclusion without your help. It just appears that way, and they support you. That's the idea. So get a little more geeky about this. The old brand model looked like this. So the company at the top would create the brand. And so what I mean by that is, you know, they create a product, they give it a name, they write some messaging, they maybe do an ad campaign, present it to the public, and the public says yes or no. You know, it attracts people to it, and if they buy it, the customer sustains the company, and then the company can go and make more products. Okay, that's a lot of people still think about it that way, but it doesn't really work that well. So the new brand model is similar, same elements, but in a different order. The company creates a customer first. How do they do that? Well, they co-create a product with a customers. They include them in the process of building the product, coming up with the messaging. The customers love it. They go out and tell everybody else about it, because remember, it's what they say, it's not what you say. They tell their friends, and the brand sustains the company. And this is slightly better because brands last longer than customers. Your reputation will outlast any given customer. So it creates this flywheel effect where the brand just gets stronger and stronger over time. So that's why we do it that way. Okay, I'll explain further. Peter Drucker, the famous management consultant back in the 70s, said something similar. So it's not a new idea. He said, a business has only one valid purpose: to create a customer. And at the time, he was a management consultant, and CEOs probably just said, yeah, okay, it's kind of obvious. But I think he was really the first brand strategist, and he just didn't have the framework for it because there was no such thing at the time. But that's what branders do. They create customers, and they keep them customers. So if you create the customers, they'll build the brand. It's a service they provide, and it's quite lovely because they do all the work for you. But you have to do the first part. You have to create the customer. Right? How do you create a customer? Well, 5 things. Step 1 is you see greatness in people from the beginning. And may seem obvious, but a lot of companies actually don't do that. What they do is they target weakness, naivete, addiction. I mean, I think you could say all 3 of those things for social media. And for that reason, social media, it's not long for this world. It's going to lose relevance pretty quickly because people are understanding that. It just took a while for them to see the effects of that. So don't do that. Instead, position people. Don't position products against the competition as much as positioning your customers for success in their lives. So this is the tech for good part. Think about what they need to be more themselves or to be who they want to be. How can you supply the highest good possible from your position? So Ritz-Carlton has this motto, we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. And this is not just a motto on the wall in back of the reception desk. This is a real thing for them. They train people for this, and they select their hires for this, right? They choose people who can pull this off, and then they keep training them. If you've ever stayed at a Ritz-Carlton, you'll know that when you go away, you feel more civilized. The goodwill lasts. You're nicer to people, after, for a few days anyway, maybe for a long time. So that's Ritz-Carlton. On the other end of the spectrum, Procter & Gamble, the soap company, we improve the lives of our customers now and for generations to come. How do they do that? Well, they take some drudgery out of your life so that you can focus on the things that count, your family or whatever, your hobbies, taking some time off. And that gets passed down from generation to generation. If you have more time, your kids come out better, they have more time, so on and so forth. That's their goal, and everything they do is to fulfill that. Now contrast those with this one. What happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas. It's funny, but it's a little too on the nose because it really is Sin City. And after they had this sort of funny campaign, the revenue started to drop off in Las Vegas, and they haven't really ever recovered. Because people they laughed, but there was a kind of embarrassed laugh, and people really now don't want to brag about going to Las Vegas. So you have to be careful what you wish for. Funny campaigns can bite you. But that was the attitude of Las Vegas, Let's target addiction, for example. Naivete. and they're paying the price for that. And so it's okay because Las Vegas is becoming a real city now. It's more than just gambling, but that was not a good approach. So how can you enable greatness in your customers? Help them find meaning in their lives. That's what they're looking for. So when a customer buys a product, it's like a Russian doll, buys a product, they're buying more than a product. They're really looking for something within that product, and probably, at least, they're looking for features, not just a product. It's, what does it do? What is it going to do for me? And within those features, what they're really looking for is benefits. It's not, who cares about the feature? What am I getting from this product? Inside those benefits, there are experiences, and those experiences matter a lot. How does it feel to use this product or this service? And finally, within the experience is this little kernel of meaning. It might be just a flicker, but it matters a lot because it's the thing that creates loyalty in customers. Right? It's this thing that makes people create a community around a product or service. So I said that customers build brands. Well, why would they do that? What's in it for them? It's because brands build customers. If you're giving them the meaning that they crave, that they need, even if they're not aware of it, you're becoming part of the fabric of their lives. You're a building block in their lives. And that's, if you look at all the really successful companies that last a long time, that's what they're doing. They may not even think about it that way, but I think about it that way because it makes it very intentional. So the question that people ask, customers ask, is if I buy this product, what does that make me? What tribe am I joining? Who's with me on this? Where do I belong when I buy that product? For example, if I use LinkedIn, I'm a corporate player. I'm in the swim, you know. If I buy Mrs. Meyer's soap, I'm an eco-warrior. If I sell my crafts on Etsy, I'm now a creative entrepreneur. If I upload things onto YouTube, I'm a video celebrity. If I use Substack, I can be a media mogul. If I transfer money with Wise, I'm now an honest-to-goodness digital nomad. If I buy a Leica, I'm an art photographer. So you can, most of the really good brands out there stand for something, right? They symbolize something. So the interesting thing about that is if the product becomes a symbol, the symbol is the product. And that's when logos start to become important because the logo can stand for that, is the symbol for that. But it's not the logo that's doing the magic. It's what it stands for, right? So if it symbolizes something important in my life, I'll pay extra for that. Step 3 is design the customers you want. Start out intentionally deciding who you want in your tribe. What do they like? Figure that out and present that to people. So when I say design the customers you like, it's not like you're Dr. Frankenstein or something. It's not like that. What you're designing is a space for customers where they see themselves in that space and they eagerly go into that space, they fill that space, and they tell their friends, and you have the beginning of a tribe. And that's how it spreads, because a brand is what they say it is. And so if they go around telling everybody about it, they're doing all the work for you, and they enjoy it, you know? They're proud to do it. So that's how loyalty starts. Loyalty really prospers in a tribe. It's better than individual loyalty, because people reinforce each other. A few numbers about loyalty. 10% of customers can generate 50% of revenues. A 5% increase in loyal customers can give you a 95% increase in profits. And 50% of customers would pay a premium before switching brands. And I think if you look at some companies, let's say Apple, it would be 4 times this much. We've done tests and research on people trying to compete with Apple, and they would give you a better machine than an Apple for half the price, and people wouldn't buy it. They died. Those products died. Nobody wanted a product that wasn't an Apple, and they would pay twice as much, not 25% more. Okay. All right, see, I'm over already. I failed that test. He says I'm fine. Okay, step 4. You have to support the tribe. You have this tribe. They're doing all this work for you. You have to give them what they need. You have to be there for them. All right, so the old way of attacking a market is you'd find an existing market, you'd measure it, how big is that market, you'd divide it up into segments, and then you decide which segment you think you can win in. 1 or 2 or 3, or it doesn't look like it'll work, so you go someplace else. But what do you do if the market doesn't exist? If you're creating a market, so in the case of a lot of AI products, there are people creating new things all the time. Where do you start with that? There's no market to measure. You do it a different way. You do it like this. You start a tribe of people, a small core group of customers, and then you let them push it out, and it gets bigger and bigger. They build it for you, but you support them the whole time. So instead of dividing and conquering the old way, you multiply and conquer. It's a different approach. When I consult with startups, I don't ask, how big is the market? It's an absurd question. I say, you and what army? Who is going to go into battle for you? Who are these people? Can you find them? Can you support them? That's the important question. So with this sort of approach to branding, purchase funnels and stuff like that are useless. What you want is a brand ladder. You want to help people up the ladder. You want to take them from satisfaction, which is just table stakes. It means you can be in business, that's it. You've satisfied a customer, but so what? Up to delight. Delight is where they start telling their friends about how great this is. From there up to engagement. Now they realize they're in a tribe and they love these other people. They want to be in that tribe. They feel like they belong. And finally, if you can get them up to empowerment, where they actually need you to do what they want to do in their lives, that is where the ultimate loyalty is. And you can measure all these things as you go up the ladder, year over year. And you can measure your competitors and see how they're doing. It's in my book, The Brand Flip, in case you want to, most of this stuff is in that book. All right, so Ahab wanted me to share sort of the DNA of branding. So for me, the DNA is a framework for stories. It's the stories that you tell along the journey of building your brand. And in my workshops, I use this framework here. You have customers and you have the company, right? And they need to be in sync. Right? They need to like each other, right? So if you get them together, you get rid of the brand gap. Now there's no daylight between you. So what this looks like in practice is this. So at the top of this sort of contract that you have, it's kind of like a contract. The company makes the first move, and they decide what their purpose for being in business is. What's our purpose? Why do we exist? That has to match with who they are, their identity. How do customers see themselves? How do we find those people that see themselves that way? So those two have to match up. Down from there, you have company onlyness. That's the only thing, it means that you're the only one that can do a certain thing, right? We're the only company that blanks, we can do that thing. And that has to relate to their aims, the jobs they want to get done. So what you offer has to match what they want, right? Below that, you have company values. It's how you behave together. And that has to match up with customer mores. How they belong to their tribe. What are the rules of their tribe? How do they think? Those have to match up. Right, so that's it. When you figure out those things, you have the DNA of the company, and that could last 5, 10, 20 years before you change it. And every decision you made will have to be run through this filter. Does it do the things that we have told people we're going to do? All right, so what we're going to do after this, at the first workshop, there's 2 workshops, they're exactly the same. Half of you are going to be in the morning workshop, half in the afternoon. We're going to focus on the most important part of this matrix, the hardest part to get right, and you're going to get your hands dirty and learn how to do it. And that is onlyness. Onlyness is the whole key. It's the foundation for a brand. If you don't get that right, you have no brand. You're just going to compete on price. You're going to say, hey, we do the same thing as those guys. You want to be the only that does it, and finding that onlyness and staying the only is the whole game. So that's what we're going to work on. And I have some interesting exercises. You're going to break into teams, and you're going to work on a specific idea that the team comes up with, and I will show you how to do it. We're going to come up with a disruptive idea for each of the teams, and then we're going to create an onlyness statement. Okay, that's the day. Thank you very much. See you soon.